Kim Lingenfelter was raised on a farm near Plainview, and as a farm boy, developed an interest in automobiles and mechanical things at a young age. Lingenfelter began his racing career in 1969 at age 17, driving a 1959 Ford at the fairgrounds track in nearby Creighton. Initially, he raced the car in the hobby stock class, but later, after a few upgrades to the car, moved into the late model division with great success. Lingenfelter received his first big break in racing a few years later, when he was hired to drive an open-wheeled Chevrolet-powered modified owned by Paul Golter of Columbus. After racing Golter's number 17 machine successfully for several years, he filled the seat of injured driver Harold Brewdigan briefly before being noticed and approached by Fred Garbers and Marvin Dickinson about driving their modified race car. In 1976 and 1977, Lingenfelter piloted the Garbers and Dickinson number 69 at Mid-Continent Raceway in Doniphan and a number of other tracks throughout Nebraska and South Dakota. At one point during the 1976 season, Lingenfelter wheeled the car to 5 consecutive feature race wins at Doniphan against the technically superior and much lighter sprint cars which were dominating the venue at the time. That September, Lingenfelter drove the number 69 to a third-place finish in the modified portion of the Nebraska Triple Crown at Sunset Speedway in Omaha, and then entered the same car in the sprint car portion of the event, finishing an impressive third in the main event behind Lincoln's Lonnie Jensen and Minnesota's Jerry Windom. The following year, after Garbers and Dickinson rolled out a brand-new Nance-built sprint car, Lingenfelter drove to a third-place finish in the final point standings at Hartford Speedway in South Dakota, winning 4 feature races against extremely strong competition that included racing legends Darrell Dowley, Marv Dewall, Roger Larson, Bill Mellenburnt, and Doug Wolfgang. He also scored feature race wins that year at Mid-Continent Raceway, Jackson Speedway in Minnesota, and Knoxville Raceway in Iowa. Prior to the 1978 season, Lingenfelter purchased his own Laverne Nance sprint car, and on the first weekend out at Black Hills Speedway in Rapid City, South Dakota, set fast time while establishing a new track record. In the Saturday Night A main, he finished second in a hotly contested battle with famous Ohio outlaw traveler Rick Ferkel. That summer, Lingenfelter raced full-time, competing weekly at Hartford, South Dakota, Knoxville, Iowa, and Midwest Speedway in Lincoln. He scored feature race wins at both Hartford and Midwest and raced to 2 top 5 and 4 top 10 finishes in Knoxville. That year, he also participated in selected World of Outlaws events. In 1979, Lingenfelter hopped into the cockpit of the number 49 sprint car owned by Dick Morris of Lamars, Iowa. Lingenfelter raced for Morris for 2 seasons before purchasing the car, which he raced at Hartford and Sioux Falls, South Dakota, through the conclusion of the 1981 season. In 1984, Lingenfelter began a short but remarkably successful racing relationship with late model car owner Will Schaller of Columbus. After successful seasons in both 1984 and 1985, Lingenfelter raced Schaller's car number 49 to track championships at US 30 Speedway in Columbus and Boone County Raceway in Albion in 1986. That year, he won 16 of the 32 feature races he competed in and never finished lower than 8th place. In addition to his 16 wins, he finished second 11 times, third 3 times, 4th once, and 8th once. During his racing career, Lingenfelter drove hobby stocks, late models, modifieds, and sprint cars at numerous tracks in Nebraska, South Dakota, Iowa, Missouri, and Minnesota. He competed in the Knoxville, Iowa Nationals twice. In 1977, while driving for Garbers and Dickinson, he ran 3rd in the Friday night non-qualifiers A main after finishing 2nd in his heat race and 3rd in the trophy dash. The following year, he drove his own number 17 Sprinter to an 11th place finish in Saturday night's championship Night C main. He ranks 4th on the all-time feature race win list at the original Hartford Speedway half mile. Tragically, Lingenfelter was killed in a work-related accident on November 13, 1986 in Norfolk.